And a jolly good morning to you from a bright sunny Sunday morning here in Luton, right by the River Lea, and welcome to part 2 of my walk from the source of the River Lea near Leagrave in Bedfordshire to where it dumps itself into the River Thames down in London. So as I said on my previous, I'm not sure how many parts this is actually going to end up being, but I'm doing it in small little bite-sized chunks as and when I have the time to do them. So today's little walk is around about 5.5 to 6 miles long, and I'm going to be walking towards Harpenden, where I'm going to finish just at a pub on the outskirts of Harpenden, and I'll pick up part 3 from there at some point as soon as I possibly can. This is the let's say slightly smartened up area of the centre of Luton, where the River Lea makes its way through the town, sometimes underground, i.e. like out of that, as it comes out of that tunnel there. Made a bit of a sitting area, which unfortunately is a bit plagued by a lot of litter this morning, but hopefully that will get tidied up. But to be fair to the council, they have made a bit of an effort to make this look nice and a place where people can come and sit. And the river disappears off underneath the streets and houses again, so I'm going to follow the map. The best way to go, according to that, is into the Luton Mall, through to the end of it, and out in that general direction somewhere. I'm not actually quite sure where I'm going to rejoin the footpath and road, but once I've got as far as Luton Airport Parkway station area, I will be joining the Harpenden, Luton to Harpenden cycleway or walkway, greenway or whatever it's called, which does trace the river most of the way. So anyway, let's get through the Arndale. Nothing much to see here. It's a shopping mall, and continue when I get to the other side of it. So all very quiet here at Luton this morning, which is great. Didn't have to negotiate the hordes of people in the Arndale Centre, or as I call it, with the mall. Merged at the other side, emerged I should say, and going to head off in the, we're at the top end of George Street just here, and go past the uni and head out in the general direction of Gypsy Lane and Luton Airport Parkway, although I think this map's sending me on a different road, which should be interesting because I don't think it's one I've been down before, so I'm interested to see how I end up at the cycle track and walkway that begins near Luton Airport Parkway. I'm sure there are probably worse places than Luton for litter, but given the amount of dustbins the council provide, I do find it's pretty poor show here. There's litter absolutely everywhere, and I know it's a Sunday morning, so there is an element of the night before still lurking about. Probably not got too many cleaners, if any, out on a Sunday morning to tidy it up, but I do wish people would put stuff in the bins. For heaven's sake, it's not that difficult. There you go. Anyway, little rant over with. Some array of funky smells going on. They've just passed some takeaways that were obviously preparing themselves for today's business, with some nice smells, a slightly sewerage smell, a bit of marijuana, and I've only walked about 200 yards, so yeah, just heading out of the town a little bit now, just going underneath the main A505 flyover. Right, so I mean, I'm not within sight of the river at all just here. It's over to my left there. I can see Vauxhalls. I think that's Vauxhalls over there. And the river is somewhere between here and there. Is that Vauxhalls? Maybe not. Somewhere between here and that big building over there. It's very difficult in parts. in the town area, as if you watch part 1, especially as you get into the centre of Luton, the river is kind of hidden away from accessibility, and in a lot of cases actually underground, where it's been built over the years. So it's difficult to actually walk close to the river, although I am walking along its length, albeit maybe 100 yards away from where it actually is. I won't get much closer between now and the end of this part of the walk, a lot closer. This is this road I've been on from the centre of Luton, heading out in the general direction of Luton Airport Parkway. It is Park Street, and it's quite a long road, and nothing much to report about it really. Yeah, I mean, I could take that road there, and you do actually go over the river down there. You can just see the bridge, if you want, that goes over the river just along there. But I'm going to stick to this road, as really my aim's to get out of Luton as quickly as possible, rather than divert too much and get onto the proper walkway, which would be far more pleasurable than walking along these litter-lined streets. Again, look at this. Some of it might be foxes, of course, jumping into all these overfilled dustbins and pulling stuff out in the middle of the night. That is a big problem too. Let's hear the planes taking off from Luton Airport. You can, to be fair, hear that from most parts of Luton, but right over the flight path now, as it's not far to my left. Feels like I'm in a sort of a leafy suburb of Luton now. With slightly less litter. And onto proper footpaths in a moment, or fairly soon at least anyway. The flyover there, that road is the main road that takes you from the M1 into Luton, or round Luton towards the airport and off out the other side to places like Hitchin, Stevenage and so on. And this is where we properly join the Upper Lea Valley Way. In fact, I was already on it, the Upper Lea Valley Way, although really it was just to cut through the centre of Luton. It's not really, it's just the route through. And of course I was on the Upper Lea Valley Way from Leagrave into the centre of Luton in the first place, in part 1 of this series of videos. So it feels a bit better now. I'm actually on the Upper Lea Valley Way properly, and will remain on it until I get to Harpenden. Yeah, sadly it's still rather hidden away, but I can assure you the River Lea is lurking about just down in that gully down there. And I'm not going to hang around here too long. It smells rather badly and there's a lot of dubious looking litter about, so I'm going to keep going. And actually I think we're going over it as a bridge here. Yeah, it's from the source through to beyond Luton. It is quite well hidden away in parts, and already I can see some sad sights here of things, yeah, sort of oil on the water there. There's general stuff thrown in. That's a suitcase there. Let's hope that's not from one of the planes that flies right directly over. Very much doubt it, but I don't know. But But yeah, very sad to see it in that state, just there. Yeah, towns and rivers don't really get on with each other very well. So, I'm going to be on the, let's think now, easterly side of the river from now on, certainly for a little while anyway. Upper Lea Valley Way, at 4 miles to Harpenden, which makes me think I've probably done about 1.5 miles then. Look at the litter, absolutely atrocious. Let's mention the interesting graffiti. I find it a bit disheartening actually sometimes. I know once I get away from the town here along the Lea Valley walkway that it won't be as bad. But in towns really it is quite shocking what you see sometimes. Just coming out at Luton Airport Parkway. This is the main car park here. At least the pathway is very well signposted. Should start to improve in terms of litter and general degradation of it once we get past here. There's the you see that all the way along. And we'll also be away from all the traffic as well, just in a little while. Let's turn away and start tracking the river again. Incidentally, I always mention this if I see the signs. A lot of these routes are on the National Cycle Network, as is this, and it's number 6. If you are to go online and have a look, if you are going to cycle it or indeed walk along it. The Cycle Network actually, on the whole, is a very good resource, even if you're going to be walking, although of course some of it will send you down roads that don't have paths, but you have to just weigh it up as you're going along really with those things. I'm actually using an app called Go Jauntly. I'm sure I probably mentioned it in part 1 of this series of videos, where it's sending me on the green route as opposed to the fastest route to Harpenden, and it basically follows the Upper Lea Valley Way and the cycleway. Never actually walked, I've walked between Luton and Luton Airport Parkway before, but I've never come that way. And didn't even know that little, quite frankly, grim footpath even existed. It's quite clearly not used very much by, or for the purpose it was put there for, and is used by people doing other things. I guess we're going to get away from that now. We get out of the town a bit. And already, this is the road there. That's the Lower Luton Road, Lower Harpenden Road. Maybe it's both. And the name changes halfway along. But this is a very defined cycle route and walkway, well away from the road. And rather pleasant, just up to my left there. Here's also the middle of main line. I'm sure we'll see in here at some point as we make our way to Harpenden. Wow, didn't get the camera going quite in time for that, but that was an LL plane. Couldn't quite see what type of aircraft it was. Presumably heading off to Tel Aviv in Israel. Didn't realise I was literally underneath the path of the runway, take off of the runway there. We got down, going on down, that's just the road I think down there, yeah. It actually shows on the map as the lower Harpenden road. I've always known it as the lower Luton road, but as I say, I think it probably changes names halfway along and it becomes the lower Luton road at the Harpenden end. Vagaries of street and road naming. Just to my left now, literally up this embankment, is the Midland Main Line, and just over there amongst those trees at the bottom of the valley is the River Lea. This is kind of the nearest you can get to it at this particular part of the walk. As I say, it's not massively accessible for quite a few stretches, although you can walk along its length. You can't really walk literally next to it. There's no footpath along the side of it for the majority of it anyway. I think this walk in total, as it winds along, Luton or Leagrave is approximately 30 to 35 miles from London. I think as this goes out to the east end on the River Thames and of course winds along somewhat, it's about 50 miles of walking, and by the time I get to Harpenden, if memory serves me correctly, I think I'll be on about 9 miles, so still 41 to go, and hopefully not too many sectors. To get all the way into London. Not many people out on their bikes along here this morning. I was expecting to see quite a few actually, because it's a lovely day. Sun is shining, and it's the kind of time you tend to see lots of people out on a Sunday morning cycling, so yeah, I'm a bit surprised about that. Climbing up to the height of the railway, which runs quite high above the valley, the bottom of the valley, up on this hill just over there, again the line, and of course the river is running down there amongst all those trees. Right, it's properly out in the countryside now, and my theory of lazy people leave litter stands up again, because they're too lazy to come out here and do it, thankfully. Right, so it's a nice fresh breeze blowing now. Lee Valley Walk, or Upper Lee Valley Walk. There you go, private jet on its way out. Not making quite as much noise as that LL jet did. There's a sign up here. Did show that on my map actually, and a seat to sit on. If that last little walk up the hill was too much for you. You've got these, well, what would you call them? Not sculptures really, are they? I'm guessing that's Eric Morecambe. In fact, it looks more like Eric Morecambe on my camera than it does looking at it not through the camera. Sea Scouts, and I don't know. Eric Morecambe, Lancelot Capability Brown and the 1st Luton Sea Scout Troop are commemorated here. Upper Lea Valley Way is a traffic-free walking and cycling route linking Luton with Harpenden. It follows the line of the Hertford, Luton and Dunstable Railway. There was one station on this section at Luton Hoo. This is now a private house, but the platform is still visible. The route runs parallel to the River Lea and the magnificent landscape grounds of Luton Hoo, created by Capability Brown in the 18th century. There you go, bit of local knowledge. And of course Eric Morecambe was famous for his support of and association with Luton Town Football Club. He would be a very happy man at the moment if he was still with us, with them currently in the Premier League. I'm not sure when this video will be published, but I'm kind of hoping they'll still be in the Premier League when it does come out. If not, then Championship side Luton Town. It'll surely be out. My idea actually for this is to complete all the sectors before I publish any at all. So this could be a seasonal look at the seasons changing as well. The previous one was about 6 weeks ago in the early part of July. And it was a nice day. Again, it was quite early on I think it was a Saturday morning I did that one, but this is going to vary dramatically, I think, as I plot the time to come and do each sector. As I live in this neck of the woods, each sector towards London is going to take slightly more planning, so I will get it done, and I will issue them once they're all done. So let's hope that's while Luton Town are still in the Premier League. Although I'm sure Watford fans probably don't agree with that if there are any on here watching. There's the lower Harpenden Road still down there. Shame we can't actually walk by the river itself, but there you go. Starting to head downhill now and taking a curving towards the right. And it appears we actually cross over the river just down here and then start walking on the westerly side of it. Yes, westerly. Had to think then from it. I'm heading due south at the moment, which is why the sun's directly in the camera. And yeah, going to cross over the river itself and then walk on the other side of it. I think we'll stay over that way then until all the way into Harpenden. It's amazing how close we are to the railway line and how noisy it is for a Sunday morning. Not the railway, the road to my right. Not really feeling like I'm truly getting away from the countryside at the moment, and I guess that's going to be the case as I head closer and closer to London. I'm sure there is some quite rural parts once you get beyond Harpenden, having a look where the river track goes off towards Wheathampstead direction, so I think it will be quite rural and quite pleasant out there. However, that's for another day. Slightly strange, the Go Jauntly app's sending me down that way. The sign is sending me that way, but the two seem to join up again further down. So I'm gonna ignore the app for a moment, and I'm gonna take the route as per the sign. I thought perhaps the sign had been tampered with for a moment. Sometimes that people jump up and spin them round and get you going in the wrong directions, but just looking on the map, this path and that one seem to run parallel to each other for a short while and then join back together again, which is slightly odd, but I'm sure there's a good reason for it. not sure it's really going to come out on the camera, but I can just see through all those trees there where the River Lea forms into a lake, really, in the grounds of Luton Hoo. At least I think it's the grounds of Luton Hoo. And but you can't, as far as I can see, you can't actually go in there. And I see why it's sent me this way now, over this bridge, rather than the other path comes out on that road just down there, and then you cross over and carries on there. So it was just sends you this way to avoid having to cross a busy road, basically. I'm wondering if this is the old track bed, actually, of the railway line it mentioned. It was too undulating back there for it to have been a railway track bed, but this is very flat. It just has that feel about it, so I think this is probably it. There's the path coming back again. That's really and some cyclists, nice to see. And another sign. I do like the reassurance of a sign. That's telling me I'm still on the National Cycle Network, number 6, and it's telling me Luton's 1.25 miles back that way, and Harpenden is 2.25 miles in the direction I'm walking. So all good. And this is far nicer now we've got away from the town. So probably just over halfway. Obviously the 1.25 miles back to Luton is referring to the outer extremities of Luton, not where I started off, right in the centre. So I'm probably just over halfway now, getting on towards 2/3 of the way. And it's really nice actually under this tree cover. This is certainly an old railway line here. This is the railway line it referred to. Presumably the rest of it either diverted off, and the first part of this walk was just a walk, and it's the railway line went off towards Luton Hoo, so it'd have been off in that direction somewhere. Oh yeah, some history along here. If you dig into the ground around here, you'll find all sorts of bits and pieces of interest. If you're a railway enthusiast, memorabilia and general accumulated bits and pieces. Going to cross over the lower Harpenden or lower Luton Road, whichever it is at this point, via this footbridge, which I guess at one time would have been a proper railway bridge that would have taken trains across. Long since demolished, I dare say. Probably cut across more in a straight line as well. Interesting structure just there, actually. Looks like some sort of water viaduct type thing. Not viaduct, what's it? Carrying water or... Oh yeah. Presumably something to do with carrying water from the river. I know there is a Chiltern Green sewage works not too far from here, and in fact to not too fine a point on it, there is that kind of aroma in the air just here. I'm not quite sure it is in relation to where I'm stood now, but I know there is one around here somewhere. back on the railway, the railway line. And there we go. The reason for the walk. Looking a lot cleaner and fresher down here than it was in Luton, with all garbage lobbed in it. So that's a good sign. Maybe some of those grids and grills are placed along it at some point to try and catch all that kind of thing, to stop it from flowing away too far. It looks a lot healthier just here. So we're on the other side of it again now. Very pleasant along here actually. Now I can see the, the sewage works. There we go. Literally right next to it. In fact, I can hear it now as well. I guess it's taking water from the river to assist its processes. I will correct myself, it's called East Hyde Sewage Works, not Chiltern Green Sewage Works. I think that's just an invention of my mind. I've always called it that. I'm just looking on, just had a quick look on the map. And yeah, East Hyde. So there we go, I've learnt something new today. Well, I've been calling it that for the last 30 years, so I probably am not going to stop anytime soon. Plenty of signs warning you to keep out. Who would want to go in a sewage works anyway? Most of the way along this former railway track, on the map, for those of you interested in these sorts of things, we've also been following the contour line of 100 metres above sea level. So yeah, that is how high we are. So between here and the end of the River Lea, we're going to basically drop 100 metres, which 100 metres over probably about 40 something miles from here, or yeah, about 60 kilometres. Yeah, interesting. West Hyde Road, I think this is. And right, so we've now got the Chiltern Cycleway going left to right, right to left, which is another one. And National Cycle Route 6 continues on here, and the way I'm going on the Upper Lea Valley Way. And the railway line we were walking, in fact there's a train now, the railway line we were walking right next to is right the way over there now, and the river is between, about halfway between that railway line and where I'm stood now, running parallel to the water treatment plant, as they call in itself. Presuming all that slurry coming out of the machine is post-treatment. Wasn't smelly, to be fair. It was not too bad, so presumably all the bad stuff's gone by the time it comes out of there. Anyway, that's enough about sewage works or water treatment plants. Just past that now. Head on downwards into Harpenden, or the outskirts of Harpenden at least, where this video will end, by the pub, and where it will part 3 will continue from in the not too distant future. Ooh, you know what I do? I do get annoyed by that when you give someone you invest your time in giving someone a polite, friendly good morning and they completely blank you. I know they were running, but even so. Ooh. Just curving back round again now and going underneath the Midland Main Line. This is where the two lines crossed over when both were in existence. And yeah, nothing much here really, just a bridge underneath over the top of the old railway line. Pretty sure the old railway line would have been a lot higher up than I am now, up meeting that embankment on the other side, with a bridge going over this road here, Thrale's End Lane or something like that. Obviously the bridge is long gone, and we just dip down to road level again and then back up the other side to the level of the railway line. In fact, you can see the top of this is where there would have been a bridge at one time. There's the Midland Main Line, and the railway line would have just come over from there, underneath that, over the top of this road, and then continued on its way up there where we're going to rejoin it. 1 mile from Harpenden now, apparently. 1 mile from quite where in Harpenden, I'm not sure. If it's like the sign for Luton, then it's probably the outskirts, which is pretty much where I'm going to anyway. Incidentally, the whole point of this walk, the River Lea, is just down there at the bottom of the valley. I've had slightly more time on my hands. I'd walk down to the village there just to see where it goes through. We will come to it a bit closer further along here. Something rather special about walking along old railway lines. They've got that feel of history about them, even though there's not really any infrastructure left. You can see how this line was engineered along the 100 metres above sea level contour to avoid too much cutting, too many cuttings and too many embankments and bridges and so on and so forth. And it's kind of remained at that all the way from Luton really, and in quite close proximity to both the river, which has always been lower down, and the 100 metres above sea level contour. Very pleasant out here. Beautiful. A lot of geese down there just by the river, and of course the horses. This is the setting these rivers should be in, not being polluted in the middle of towns, but I guess in a lot of cases the towns are there because there was a river and not the other way around. So we've dropped down. The Midland Main Line's quite a way above us now. And not quite down to the level of the river, but getting fairly close to it. Beware of bull, yes. That one you're wandering over and helping yourself to river water. I guess this is private land it's going through just here. Interesting, that building there, I think that's probably a old water plant or something. They're pumping the water into the system. public usage. Still on our way into the town of Harpenden. There's the Midland Main Line again, just up there. Presumably there was some sort of a road or pathway across there at one time. I just see that nice looking bridge underneath the railway line. Or maybe that's just for the farmer to get from field to field. That's, yeah, I guess that's probably what it is. If it's all goes across the farmer's land, so he can get his tractor and through and so on. Tell you what, the geese certainly do like being next to the river. There are hundreds of them down there, as there were further back by the stables. Absolutely loads of them down there. Probably swimming up and down, landing and taking off in the water. So just taking this section of the walk on its own. So the previous one was from Leagrave Park to the centre of Luton. So from where the River Lea, the source of the River Lea, and you can easily get out there, go to Leagrave Station and then walk back to Luton, and of course Luton Station if you want to incorporate public transport into your plans. With this one, of course, from Luton, or indeed Luton Airport Parkway, which probably would be the better place to start, as that bit from the centre of Luton to that part of this walk not overly inspiring. But once I get to the end of this part of the walk, then I'll have about a 3/4 of a mile walk to Harpenden railway station, which is over in the latter direction. I'm finishing fairly soon, just over here, and we'll continue this walk in the not too distant future from exactly the same spot as I end it today. So look out for that. But yeah, as a one-off walk of about 5 miles, of course 10 miles if you turn around and go back again. Or you could walk into Harpenden, have a look around Harpenden. Very nice town to look around, plenty of places to grab a bite to eat or a drink, that kind of thing, and jump on the train back to Luton. Or of course do it in reverse, come to Harpenden and walk to Luton. There's not many opportunities though on this walk to get right up close to the river. This appears to be one of them. If I can just shimmy my way down here, just next to the path. And there we go. And yes, I mean, having a look at it here, from outward appearances, apart from a few little bits of rubbish I can see in the water, it looks nice, clean and healthy. And flowing well. Just entering the outskirts of Harpenden now. Housing estate just to my right. And we'll get to the end of the path here into the road ahead. I think a left turn will take me to my end point for this particular walk today. I think. I'll have to have a look when I get there. I'm hoping there'll be a pub around that corner where I can just go and grab some refreshments before I head on into Harpenden itself. Should be just about open now. There you go. He's not bothered, is he? Right, so that's where I've just come from. I should be heading off in that general direction. In fact, actually it says town centre down that way, so I guess I'm going to be going that way in a few moments. But the ending point of this walk is just down here, at the Red Cow Public House. I just looked at the time and it's not going to be open yet, so I'm going to head in to Harpenden. The door's open. Looks like it is open. Anyway, the point of this walk was to follow the track of the River Lea as much as possible. As I've said before, it's you can't walk literally along the river's edge for vast parts of it, but you can walk fairly close to it, which is what I've done this morning, all the way from Luton. And just to finish the video off for today, there she goes, the River Lea, heading off towards London and the River Thames. Thanks for watching this video. If you like it, there is a part 1 if you've stumbled across this one. There is a part 1 and a part 3, and I'm not at this moment in time quite sure how many parts it'll end up being, but they'll continue doing them until I reach London. So that's all from me today. Click on the like button, subscribe, etc, etc. You know the score if you're interested in all of that. And thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one from here very soon. Cheers for now. Bye.